Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review here for a film that I picked up on Black Friday in 2023, last year, and I got it for 33 cents at a Big Lots. I didn't find much on Black Friday, but this was one of the things I found that I thought was a total steal, and I couldn't resist not getting it because of the label at the top of the DVD case. And that's a Tartan Asia Extreme film, which is kind of a collection of random Asian horror films they put out every once in a while. I don't know if they're exclusively horror. Everything I own from them, everything I've ever seen from them, have been horror related, so I could be wrong. Anyway, this is a subtitled film, foreign movie obviously, from 2006 called Silk. Now, I love the cover here. It reminds me a lot of the Cube movies, if you've seen those. And I wanted to see this really bad. I put it in probably 3-4 weeks ago. No, it would have been longer than that because it would have been during my Christmas break before I started really doing videos on here, but I was also sick, so I couldn't talk about it. But Silk was a movie that I really wanted to see based on that cover there, and I thought it was pretty cool. This is a weird sci-fi horror movie. It's kind of a ghost movie, but kind of a science fiction film merged into one in a weird way, like a really weird way. As I talk about this movie, I don't want it to completely turn you off. I hope that you'll give it a shot, because it's fairly decent. It's got some interesting stuff in here. And I'm surprised this was never kind of like The Ring and The Grudge, where it's remade into an American version of some sort. But Silk probably would have been pretty cool for the most part. I look forward to this eventually getting some kind of American remake and Americanized on top of that, but maybe not, because it's a little silly sometimes, but overall, I still think it's a pretty damn good movie. This movie's about an hour and 48 minutes, and it kind of flies by, to be honest with you, with how good the pacing is on this. Essentially, we follow a guy who is like a linguist of some sort, who can read lips and whatever. And we also mainly start off following a scientist who is crippled, and he is also kind of a very strange dude, you know? And he's involved with a group of scientists also who have used this particular, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a small cube called like the merger sponge or the sponge merger, something like that. And essentially they took chemicals off of this thing and they have to spray their eyes with like this mist, like a water bottle mist. I swear to God, it's real. And it helps them see this ghost of this small boy in this apartment room that they have kind of secluded off, because this boy is living in the same pattern over and over again of walking over here, then walking over there. But the reason they pull in our main character, the linguist I talked about, was because he keeps muttering something, and of course you can't hear the ghost, you can only see it with this spray you put on your eyes. And they're trying to figure out what that little boy is muttering to himself by reading his lips. The linguist comes in, he works with him on that, and the scientific group experience some weird shit while watching what's going on with this kid, ghost kid, whatever. Now the other thing with this too, this merger sponge, this little cube thing from the cover right here, apparently at some point in the future they could utilize this to like walk on the ceiling and so on and so on. So they wonder how much that will tie back to that little ghost boy, and it does in some way, fashion, or form. The stuff with the mist on the eyes, I really like. I think the idea of capturing this kid is really good. And to be honest with you, the movie itself is not really scary. It has a kind of a weird, overwhelming atmosphere sometimes for like the first half of the movie, even the first hour of the movie, I would say. But let me tell you this. At one point, there is a person who gets killed in the movie. It's not like a slasher movie, obviously, but somebody dies in the movie at one point, and there is something truly scary that comes out of that scene that might be one of the creepiest things I've ever seen out of an Asian horror film, and I'm a huge fan of Asian horror films, the Ju-on franchise being my personal favorite of those. I love Asian horror. That moment has stuck with me since I saw this movie. It's the reason why I kind of thought about keeping it in my collection, but I've kind of debated on going ahead and getting rid of the book or the movie, because I'll probably never watch this again. But that particular scene I'm talking about, if you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's a resurrection scene, if you will. That was so eerie, just the way it was done. It was kind of low budget effort, you know, for its time, I guess. But there was something about that that really stuck with me and still has, almost 2 months later after seeing it. Even when I was sick, watching that scene really scared me. My wife was creeped out by it too. This film takes a lot of weird directions by its end. It kind of goes in some weird ways, a little too silly sometimes, as I mentioned earlier. It's a little all over the place. I don't know if they entirely knew what they wanted to do. Asian films in general, horror or science fiction or anything, can be really weird sometimes. This is no exception to that. Silk is a bizarre movie. It has a lot of personality. Like, there's jokes in here that you wouldn't expect. And let me tell you one thing, too. There is a car crash towards the end of this movie that I saw tons of reviews on, like, IMDb mentioning this car crash because it's utilized with CGI from 2006 from Japan, or wherever this movie came from. And it is truly a sight to behold because of how awful that CGI was. It's embarrassing. The editing surrounding it is embarrassing. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. But at the end of the day, Silk is not a complete mishap of a movie. It's pretty solid for what it is. I do recommend it if you like Asian horror films. You have to kind of go in with the right mindset. Again, it's on a silly spectrum, sort of. But it is horror and sci-fi mixed into one, and I do think most of it's pretty damn solid. So anyway, when it comes to Silk from 2006, if I had to rate this film on a 5-star basis, I would probably give it about a 3 out of 5 stars. It's kind of a low 3 out of 5, but it's a solid watch. I'm glad I watched it, matter of fact, and I'm glad I saw this for 33 cents. How do you pick something like that up at Big Lots on Black Friday? I never thought I would see something like this in a Big Lots, matter of fact. Just one of those random weird finds you get every once in a while at those stores. That's why I used to love to work there, because I would find weird shit like this and like S. Darko, the sequel to Donnie Darko, on the shelves when I'd be stocking them. So that was kind of cool. Anyway, Silk, have you seen it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about the movie down in the comment section down below. Is this one of the more surprising and the more weird Asian horror films you've ever seen? I'd love to hear all that down below, too, from us American people, or the English-speaking audience, I guess. Thank you all, guys. Appreciate you for watching. God bless you again, and goodbye.